It's been announced that PBS will suspend journalist Charlie Rhodes' eponymous show after allegations of sexual harassment and sexual misconduct have come to the forefront from 8 women. Now, these allegations have stemmed over a course of 10 years from the late 2000s to even 2011. Now, this was reported in the Washington Post, and 8 women have come forward. 3 are willing to divulge their identity while 5 are not. One woman, Kyle Godfrey Ryan, who was Charlie Rhodes' assistant back in the mid-2000s, gave her account and said that Charlie Rhodes would not only call her in the middle of the night and tell her about his sexual fantasies, but also that he would walk around nude in front of her. She says, quote, "It felt branded into me." Wow, 5 other women come forward, and it's just, yeah, there's a lot to unpack here, but PBS is saying, we can't touch this with a 10-foot pole. And Charlie Rhodes is on CBS this morning.
Yeah, CBS suspended him.
Yeah, CBS did suspend him. He is a respected journalist.
Yeah.
You know, I was really shocked to see this from Charlie Rhodes. Mouth on the floor.
Shaken.
Yes.
When a friend actually sent me a text link to the Washington Post story and just the headline. I was like, what? I think I tweeted that. What? And then I started reading it, and it was absolutely horrifying. These accusations. And I do have to say that I wasn't surprised by not specifying it to him, but the specific accusations,
yes,
because those are things that have happened to me in the workplace.
Really?
Somebody putting their hand on your bare leg, someone who's supposed to be a colleague, just inappropriate touching and kissing and telling you dirty stories or making inappropriate jokes, showing you pictures of their body parts and things like that. And that sounds crazy, right, but I wasn't super surprised by the words in the document. I was shocked because I didn't expect this from Charlie Rhodes, but I just would have never guessed if I could make a list of who I think, a story's gonna come out of. He wouldn't have been on my list, and just the number of women and what they're saying. This story is horrifying.
Right.
They all are.
But you make a great point, and that's something we've also talked about here, is that you said on a list, I would never have guessed that it would have been him. But a lot of predators know that.
Right.
They know that, and that's why they think I could get through unscathed, I could get through scot-free, because you wouldn't expect that that's not my character. Right. And I think, that's, I think that leans on why people are so shocked when you hear these allegations, because we come to love these people, we come to watch them daily, we come to build a relationship with them via the media, and then boom, this happens. Ryan said that she asked employees for help. She went to Charlie Rhodes' executive and she was brushed aside. Now the executive told her that's just Charlie being Charlie. Other women had said that they were referred to as Charlie's angels, and 2 former employees said that Charlie would frequently give them unsolicited shoulder rubs, and they would refer to that as the crusty paw. Now, what's even more chilling is Charlie Rhodes' response. Charlie Rhodes' response, because we're realizing that a lot of these people, when they give their response, they don't actually apologize. They will say, if I did that, I'm sorry. But
yes, there's this general idea that, I used to have behavior that people didn't think was bad, or something like that, or I'm sorry that they felt that way,
exactly,
that you were confused by my intentions.
Right, it's never ever like, yes, I did that. So
boys being boys, it's kind of what it comes out with a lot of these apologies.
Absolutely. Charlie Rhodes says, quote, "In my 45 years in journalism, I have prided myself on being an advocate for the careers of women with whom I've worked. Nevertheless, in the past few days, claims have been made about my behavior towards some former female colleagues. It is essential that these women know I hear them, and I deeply apologize for my inappropriate behavior. I am greatly embarrassed and have behaved insensitively at times, and I accept responsibility for that. Though I do not believe that all these allegations are accurate, I always felt that I was pursuing shared feelings, even though I now realize I was mistaken." So he says, I thought I was always pursuing shared feelings. So he thought that these women, he had the consent of these women.
And coming from a position of power, coming from a position of a boss, talking to and treating a subordinate this way. Why is that even a discussion?
Right, yeah, well.
Why would that even be something that's crossing your mind?
Well, do you think though in the workplace, because like, let's say, I know sometimes you have relationships with people, like let's say like Brooke, like I work with you, I'm like, hey Brooke, how are you? Would you interpret that as an inappropriate gesture, as an inappropriate touch?
I think we have a relationship outside of work.
Okay.
And that would be different, but my boss rubbing my bare thigh, or if my skirt scoots up and we're in a car together, that you wouldn't put your hand on my thigh,
right.
and we're friends.
Sure.
So no, it's like you can't argue this down.
No,
you just can't. It's not normal. It's not how friends behave. It's not something. It's how a boyfriend behaves. It's someone that I'm actually in a relationship with. That's who touches my thigh. You know what I mean? Not my boss. So it's not something that I think you could twist around and make like possibly confusing. It's just not.
Great point. Charlie Rose concluded with, "I have learned a great deal as a result of these events, and I hope others will too. All of us, including me, are coming to a newer and deeper recognition of the pain caused by conduct in the past and have come to a profound new respect for women and their lives." So people have interpreted this as Charlie Rose saying, one, I didn't know that I was doing this, but now I have a new respect for women, and we're all woke and enlightened. And that goes back to the whole Kevin Spacey thing of, you know what, I'm coming out as a gay man. Kind of saying I'm rehabilitating myself to make the allegation or the accusation less egregious.
It's like, oh, that was just locker room talk. I didn't know. Now I know. Thank you.
Well, the positive is gross. Brooke, the positive of this is the conversation's being had, and a lot of major corporations are now doing even more work within their HR departments, within the culture to really be a vigilant force in this. They're being super aware, almost hyper aware of things. But a lot of people lean on the conversation now, is interpersonal communication gonna be more inauthentic, more blocked, more clandestine now, because we're all so afraid of saying the wrong thing, of possibly doing a gesture. Now, let's say you send a coworker a text saying, "Hey, what are you doing after work?" That could be misinterpreted as sexual harassment.
Yeah, but that's not fair. It's not fair. I think that is a cop-out. It's like saying white people are afraid to speak to black people because now we are making it more, it's clearer in the public's eye that racism is bad.
Yeah,
that's not fair. No, just like don't. It's like no, just don't be racist. So just don't be a sexual harasser. And honestly, if you are a man who behaves like this, I don't care if now you're nervous about your interactions with women. I would rather you be nervous than put your hand on my thigh.
Right, and I think that
absolutely we
have to have the examples. It's just I just hope that we can come to an understanding where we're all on the same page about what is right and what is wrong.
You know
but it's all conditional on the person.
This morning, Tuesday morning, because Charlie works directly on CBS This Morning with Gayle King and Norah O'Donnell, two women. And this morning, the two of them sat side by side without Charlie. He's been suspended from the show, pending this investigation, visibly just torn up.
Right.
I mean, Gayle looked like she'd been crying. She said that her children called her. Oprah called her to say, "Hey, are you okay?" And she said, "No, I'm not okay." But you know what they didn't do? Neither of them said, "He's my friend. I know him to be different. There's no way he did this." And we've seen recently a statement, like word for word, just that. And so I commend them. They were so strong and they were horrified. And Gayle said that she hadn't talked to him and she was planning on talking to him later today. So I mean, I'd love to be a fly on the wall for that conversation, but they were horrified. So it's not even it's not just the women who were sexually harassed who this affects.
Absolutely, great point, because when we talked about this on Pop Sugar as well, when you have these leaders, because these men are leaders of their fields, they employ people, they have production companies. When you have their product, which is their show, their movies, etc., when you have that coming to a halt, you're not only endangering the lives of, or not endangering, but you're throwing a wrench in the welfare and the well-being and the livelihood of actors, but production, people that work behind the scenes, you know, like those are people that have families that are now impacted by your irresponsibility.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's something we brought up earlier, just one of these women specifically told an EP, and that's just Charlie being Charlie. That's horrifying. And I think that same woman, was she fired?
Well,
by Charlie later in the story. It's a long piece.
She says that woman whose name was, let me see, I think her name, they didn't really give her name, I guess.
One of the women in the piece, she was fired for talking about his behavior.
And she says, "I should have stood up for them. I failed. It is crushing. I deeply regret not helping them." So, I mean, there we have it. What do you guys think? Again, more sexual assault allegations, more sexual misconduct. It seems like there's a new one every single day. The conversation is so hard to have, but at least we are having the conversation. We should have this conversation with an open mind and respect for one another, and to have compassion for the victims as well. So yeah, let us know in the comment section below, and we will see you next time on Pop Trigger.